Ria had once believed in fairy tales, the kind where love conquered all, where a husband cherished his wife, and where marriages were built on trust and respect. But after 10 years of being married to Karen, she realized that fairy tales were just stories, and reality was far from them. Karen had changed. Or maybe he had always been this way, and she had just been too blinded by love to see it. The late nights, the cold indifference, the excuses. At first, she had convinced herself it was work pressure. But soon, the messages on his phone, the unfamiliar perfume on his shirts, and the distant look in his eyes confirmed her worst fears. He was unfaithful. She confronted him once. He laughed. "Ria, stop being so dramatic. Not everything is about you," he had said, dismissing her pain as if it were insignificant. That night, she lay awake, staring at the ceiling. The weight of betrayal crushed her chest, but even more than that, the realization that she had lost herself in this marriage. The girl who had once been full of dreams, who had painted colorful canvases and danced in the rain, was now a shadow of her former self. Then came the final blow. One evening, while tidying up the living room, she found a hotel receipt in his jacket pocket. It was from just last night. The truth was undeniable now. Ria sat at the dining table, staring at the paper, her fingers trembling. When Karen walked in, she placed the receipt in front of him. "No more lies, Karen. Tell me the truth." He sighed, rubbing his temples. "Look, Ria, I didn't want to hurt you. But let's be honest, our marriage hasn't been working for a long time." Her heart ached, but strangely, his words also brought clarity. Their marriage wasn't working, not because of her, but because of him. She had done everything to keep it alive, while he had walked away long ago. For the first time, she didn't cry. Instead, she took a deep breath and said, "You're right. This isn't working. So, I'm leaving." Karen looked up, surprised. "What? I deserve better," she said, her voice steady. "And I'm done waiting for you to realize that. A new life begins." That night, she packed her bags, taking only what she needed. The next morning, she left. She didn't know where life would take her, but she knew she couldn't stay in a place where she was no longer valued. She moved to another city, one where she had no memories of Karen. She found a job at an art gallery, something she had always dreamed of, but had given up after marriage. It was difficult in the beginning. There were nights she cried herself to sleep, mornings when she woke up missing the familiarity of her old life. But as weeks turned into months, she found strength in her independence. She made friends, she painted again, and she rediscovered the woman she had once been, fearless, passionate, and full of life. One day, she was invited to showcase her work at an art exhibition. Nervous but excited, she agreed. As she stood in the gallery, surrounded by people admiring her paintings, she realized she had done it. She had built a new life, a better life, without Karen. That night, as she stood on her apartment balcony, looking at the city lights, she smiled. She had once thought that losing Karen would break her. But now she knew the truth. Walking away from him had set her free. Her story was no longer about heartbreak. It was about hope, about courage, about a woman who chose herself over a broken marriage. It was about a new beginning.